Hey everyone, Sean Ryan here from the Ryan Realty Group and EXP Realty, and as promised, we're here with Colin McElrea. He's a lawyer at GMSB here in Sarnia, and he's going to answer some of our most frequently asked questions that people have when purchasing a home. And better ask the expert. I'm just going to adjust the camera here. So we're just going to wait a minute because we're still a little early for this beautiful long weekend. So hope everyone got good plans to have with their family, and they're out in the sun today enjoying the nice weather, unlike Colin and I, where we're stuck inside.
It's cruel. Absolutely cruel.
So Colin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, how long you been a lawyer from, where'd you go to school, and where were you born and raised?
Okay, born and raised here in Sarnia. I went to school, did both my undergrad as well as my law schooling down at Western in London. And then I articled and summered here and have now been in practice for coming up on 3 years in June.
Wow, and you guys have, how many lawyers do you have here?
I believe we're at 11 lawyers total.
So this is the biggest firm in Sarnia?
Definitely the largest firm in Sarnia, and probably the largest in Lambton County. Next largest ones are going to be in London.
Awesome. And so what's your primary practice?
So my primary areas of practice would be real estate, wills and estates, and then corporate and commercial law.
Awesome. Oh, great. Okay. So we're 12 o'clock now, so let's keep everything on track here. So I guess the first question is, why do we need a real estate lawyer?
Well, for many people, the purchase of a home is going to be the biggest investment that they ever make. That purchase involves a number of complicated legal documents, and you want to have a lawyer reviewing those with you to make sure that you've got a proper grasp and understanding of those documents, and to make sure that your interests are being protected. One of the major tasks for a lawyer in the purchase of real estate is to review the title to the property. And when we're reviewing title to a property, we are primarily trying to determine whether or not there are any problems or issues, which could be, of course, very problematic for you as a potential owner, and of course very costly as well. In addition to that, we're also trying to make sure that there's no, liens that could be very costly and problematic.
So when you guys checked out, how far back do you go?
Well, it's not exactly that simple. It's different in every different case, but we're doing a number of different things to verify the ownership of the property as well as whether or not there's any problems with it.
Awesome. So let's make sure you're protected, everything's done. Who we got watching there? Hey, how you doing, Sarah? Thanks for watching. Sorry, I don't have my glasses, so I can't see as far today. So a big question we get all the time too is title insurance. What is title insurance? What's it include? What's it not include? What's it for?
So title insurance is a product that has become very popular in Ontario. It's a form of indemnity insurance that you pay for one time at the time that you purchase the home, which protects both you and your lender against potential claims by third parties, which could otherwise create major problems.
So what kind of claims would we have from a third party?
This would lead to things such as, potential ownership interests by another party in the property, violations of municipal zoning bylaws, setback violations, utility arrears in the event that they formed a lien against the title to the property. It even covers for things such as fraud against the title to the property. And that coverage continues not only at the time that you purchase the property, but on a go-forward basis. And title fraud's a big thing that, you're always looking to protect yourself.
So is title insurance mandatory by lenders?
In a lot of cases, it is a mandatory.
Okay, gotcha. And have you had many issues, like many claims on it over your...
Yeah, there are certainly claims.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say many claims.
Okay.
But yeah, and they're great to work with in sorting out those problems.
Great, that's great. And then another thing we talk about too, especially first-time home buyers when they're purchasing a house and they're coming to see a lawyer, we always recommend maybe looking at getting a will. So let's touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, depending on the way in which you take title to a property, the will may be the only thing which determines who is going to potentially inherit both your property as well as your other assets. So by getting a will, you can determine, rather than having the laws and the jurisdiction which you're located, so Ontario in this instance, determine who would inherit under the terms of your estate. By getting a will, you're also able to determine who will administer your estate, who will have custody to your children immediately after your passing, as well as potentially whether or not a trustee will hold funds so that perhaps your children don't receive a large inheritance when they're, say, 19 years old.
So, especially like a first-time young buyer that doesn't have a spouse or anything, I guess it's very important to get the will too for that property.
I definitely think so.
Yeah.
I think it's also very important. I recommend to anybody over the age of 18 that they have powers of attorney in place. Power of attorney for property, which deals with your financial matters,
Okay.
as well as a power of attorney for personal care. And you want to have these in place because in the event that you don't have them, it's going to be a very costly process for somebody to step in and try and deal with your assets in the event of your incapacity.
Gotcha. So, moral story, get a will.
It definitely helps.
And then here's a great one we get all the time, especially with the younger people. Who is eligible for first-time homebuyer land transfer tax refund? So when you purchase a house in Sarnia, there's land transfer tax. Some other cities like Toronto have double land transfer tax. So we're going to talk more about this area. And as a first-time homebuyer, there's land transfer tax credit refund.
There's a refund that is potentially available.
Okay.
You have to meet certain requirements that the government has set out, and land transfer tax is a very expensive chunk. There's a number of online calculators that you can go on and see, based on your purchase price, how much it's going to cost you in land transfer tax. And then if you're in Toronto, as you noted, you're going to get dinged again with the municipal one.
Yeah.
In order to potentially qualify for the refund, you need to be at least 18 years old. You have to occupy the home as your principal residence within 9 months of the date of your purchase, and you cannot have ever owned a home anywhere in the world. In addition to that, your spouse cannot have ever owned a home anywhere in the world while they are your spouse.
So is it spouse like legally married, or is that common law still for that too?
I would have to take a look into that.
Okay, gotcha. We got a little stumper there for him. That's good.
That's one I always have to look. I always make sure I refer right to the government website to try and determine, those specific.
So the government website they can go on, and there's a lot of great details there as well.
If you Google land transfer tax refund, you'll be able to get the exact details on what your qualifications are.
That's great. Hey Chris, thanks for watching. Sorry guys, I can't see that far today. I don't have my glasses on. So, and then process. So people always, one question we know as people purchase real estate is the closing process. When it comes to the closing of the sale, the day people pick up their keys or hand in the keys, how do we make that process smoother? So the easier we make it for you guys, the lawyers, makes it easier for everyone, probably, right?
Definitely. I would say the first thing that we want is for the clients, both buyers and sellers, to reach out to us as fast as possible. Sometimes that's even before they enter into an agreement of purchase and sale with their realtor. But if not at that point, then as soon as possible thereafter. I know many realtors are very good about getting the agreements over to us and getting us contact information for the client. We try and reach out as soon as possible so that we can start coordinating things. First thing, you want to make sure to go out and make sure that your financing is in order well in advance of your closing date. You don't want to have those last minute scramblings when you're trying to put together mortgage funds and there's changes that need to be made, because that can lead to real problems and potential delays in your closing. I would also suggest doing the same with respect to getting your home insurance. The more that you do to go and get your legs on the ground and actually accomplish the things that we need you to do, the better it is for us to be able to put your documentation together, get you final numbers, and arrange for a time for you to attend at our office, sign up your documentation, and have everything explained and worked out for you.
So what Colin's trying to say is, on day of closing, if you don't want to wait till 5 o'clock to get your keys, get all your stuff lined up.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always going to be potential hiccups that can happen on a day of closing. But the more you work with us to try and help solve those problems and take it upon yourself to go out and get your mortgage things signed up so that we're not scrambling the day before closing to make that stuff.
And what he means by mortgage is, so when you get approved for your mortgage, the bank's going to send their underwriter team, is going to send mortgage instructions to Colin's office that then you guys still have to prepare, right?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work. And then they have to get you in to sign those instructions and have proof of insurance, proof of funds at that time, or just insurance?
A lot of the proof of funds is something that you're working out with your mortgage broker.
Yeah. Okay.
For us, it's more about actually getting you in, reviewing all of your mortgage and purchase transformation documentation, getting you signed up. We actually have to return those documents usually to your lender, and then they will then advance funds to us. They won't send us money if we haven't provided them with the necessary documentation, and then therefore I've got no money to buy your house.
You're buying houses?
Oh, for some people.
That's funny. So yeah, that's great. So if you have any more questions about this stuff, always reach out to someone like Colin or another lawyer and get your answers, get your ducks in a row. So if someone wants to get a hold of you, Colin, what's the best way to do that?
I would highly suggest calling me at my office at 519-336-8770, or you can always email me at cmcelrea, Colin McElrea, at sarnialaw.com, or feel free to visit our website, sarnialaw.com.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Feel free, we had a hard time seeing today, so if you have any questions further that we didn't touch on today, feel free to write them in the comment section. We'll try to get them over to Colin to answer for you, in a timely manner if you can, or if not, we can point you in the right direction to get you those answers. So everyone have a wonderful long weekend. Hopefully you get some good time with your family and enjoy the sunshine, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thanks, John.
Thanks. Bye.
Have a great day, guys.